episode 9 of the Ladywing Crafts podcast. My name is Zakia, and I'm coming to you from my apartment in Alabama on Friday, January the 12th, 2018. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Ladywing Designs, where you can direct message me if you want to get in contact with me for any reason. You can also email me at ladywingdesigns@gmail.com. We have a Ravelry group for the podcast, which you can find by searching Ladywing Crafts podcast on the groups tab. There in the group, you will be able to find every episode's show notes, any giveaways, and knit-alongs that we have going on. So, and everything that I talk to you about. So links to all of my project pages and a link to the Ravelry group will be in the description box below. So how are you guys? I'm doing really great. I'm actually super excited because this will be more of a short episode. I don't have too much to talk about, and I'm excited about that because I basically have a day off. School started back for us on Wednesday, so 2 days ago, and it's been a good week so far. We're just going over syllabi in every class basically, and I was supposed to have one class today, one Friday class, but he canceled our class's meeting for today. Which, no one's complaining about. And thankfully, that was my only class today. So I've just been sitting here crafting a little bit, and then I thought, hey, I should go ahead and podcast today because I'm not going to want to tomorrow. I want to just have a very relaxing Saturday. So I'm going to get this out of the way now. And as I was doing show notes, I actually realized that I don't have a lot. So my show notes start like here. It's just, it's the tiniest amount, guys. So we're going to get through this really quick. I didn't want to skip a week. I didn't think that would be smart because I wanted to kind of show you guys stuff now and just get it out of the way. Okay, so I hope you guys have been good. I hope you've had lots of crafting time. I hope that the new year is starting out great for everyone. And let's get into some admin stuff. So the very first thing I want to say is thank you so much to Sally and Steve. If you saw my Instagram post that I did yesterday, Sally, I'm assuming axed her husband. I guess she didn't volunteer his time, but he works with graphic design, I believe. And so when I put out a call for someone to help with the Ravelry banner and badge, which I will pop a picture of up here, the post that I put on Instagram. I put out a call on Instagram saying, if anyone can help me with that, so we'll have it in the Ravelry group, and she kindly got back to me and said that her husband wouldn't mind doing it. So that was a while ago, maybe a couple months ago, but life happens. And that's fine anyway. You guys seem to be finding the group just well. But yeah, so that's done now, and I love them, and I hope you guys like them. He used the picture that I had put on Instagram of the trekking XXL socks, which I don't have lying anywhere near me. So I'll pop a picture of them somewhere. There's a decent amount of space on both sides of my head. So that's the picture that I used for the background, so it makes it super special. So thank you again, Sally and Steve, for that. And the only other thing, admin, we have to talk about are some knit-alongs. So this group, or this podcast, anyway, we're having our first knit-along for the group. It's the Spring Garment Cowl, which starts in 2 days, just 2. I'm so excited. So it'll run on January 14th through April the 30th. Light sweaters, cardigans, vests, ponchos, capes. Just think kind of like, it's a little chilly. I'm just going to throw something on over what I have on. Just something to kind of keep the wind off of you. So think that direction. Again, it's a garment cowl, so no shawls or accessories, please. And so other details that I did want to mention, because I seem to be forgetting to mention everything in one group, so I'm going to say them all here. And I'll link the chatter thread for the knit along down below as well. All of the rules should be written there at the top of the thread. So for the cowl, as long as your whip is not more, so whips are allowed as long as they are not more than 50% done on Sunday, on January the 14th. Then they are still prize eligible. Double dipping is encouraged, super encouraged. Poly dipping, some people call it, if you have several other knit-alongs that these garments will work for. I totally do not care if you post them in other knit-alongs. Other crafts are welcome. So besides knitting, you can crochet, you can weave, sew, anything that creates a garment, it will count. It doesn't have to be just knitting. And the last thing that I have written down is that you can use any yarn weight that you feel is necessary to keep you warm during whatever is considered chilly where you live. So I'm not going to monitor yarn weights because that's just doing too much. And honestly, I'll probably forget anyway. I'll look at your picture and say, oh, that's beautiful, I love it. And might even look at the pattern page. And I'm not going to remember to do that anyway. So yeah, so those are some of the details. There will be a prize drawn, one prize drawn from the FO thread and one prize drawn from the chatter thread. So even if you don't finish, you still have a chance if you get in the chatter thread, and we've already got lots of people there talking, so feel free to come join us. Let us know what yarns you're using, what project you're planning to make. If you have pictures of it already because it's a whip, feel free to show us those. Yeah, so it's just going to be a place for us to motivate each other and knit along with everyone. And last week, this is the other admin I wanted to talk about. Last week I told you guys that I was going to start a thread for other knit-alongs, make-alongs that are happening in the community. So I did indeed start that thread, and again I'll link it in the show notes this week as well. But I've already gotten quite a few knit-alongs, make-alongs that are happening just from watching podcasts that I watch, and I've already put them in the header. And there's kind of, the first post kind of has this, what you guys do in there, but basically if you know of any other knit-alongs, make-alongs, they can be crochet, sewing, weave, again, whatever. Because somebody in the group might do all of those things and be interested. But if you guys know of any more that you don't see on the list, feel free to leave a comment in that thread, so reply to the thread, so I can add them up there. That would be super awesome, because I'm sure there's still a lot of podcasts that I'm not currently watching and, might never even get around to because there are just so many. So if you see one that isn't up there, feel free to comment and I'll add it up there for everyone to see. And that is, oh, no, I did want to read off, so I'm going to try to do this every week when I kind of find them. We'll see how this goes throughout the year, or from now on even. But there were some. I've been kind of making a little list here in my show notes to tell you guys about, and I'm just going to read what the name of the cowl and who is hosting the knit along or make along. I'm not going to go into detail about all of them because I can't really remember all those details anyway. I didn't write them down. So there's the Literary Knit Along, which is going on in the UK Sock Knitters group on Ravelry. The Better Sweater Cowl, which is being hosted by Sarah and Katie of the Imagine Landscapes podcast. There's the Spring Make-Along and the Year-Long Spin-Along happening in the So Perfect Pearls podcast group. The Year-Long Mitt-Along, which is being hosted by Ellie of Skein-Deer Knits. The Pattern Make-Along, which is being hosted by Sweater Freak Knits, and which is on Ravelry, and the Clean Slate Cowl, which is being hosted by Wool Jewel. So all of these will be linked in the other make-alongs thread on the Ravelry group, and all the links there are taking you to chatter threads, so you can check out the rules and see if you want to participate in any of those. Okay, So that's done for admin. So now let's get into some nitty content, and there is not a lot of it. And actually, I'm looking around like, oh, what do I grab first? But my one finished object I do not have with me to show you because it was a Christmas present. So I'll pop a picture in up here. And these were, what pattern is this? These were the Koigu wristers by FKD Designs. And I knit them on a US 000, which is a 1.5 millimeter needle, which is what I used for my sock knitting, because the gauge that you wanted on these was the same as the sock. So yeah, so really quick, the yarns are Jinx yarns in her strong sock base in the Cheers colorway, and Himalaya Wellness. I'll put the whole name of the yarn on the screen, but I'm not going to try to say that. So it's Himalaya Wellness in the cream colorway. And the cream I just did on like the top of the ribbing at the top of the hand and the thumb. When you go to, you do the gusset and then you put the thumb stitches on waist yarn. As soon as I joined it back up, I just did ribbing in that cream because that's what my mom wanted. So yeah, those were really great to make. You've already seen a picture of them by now. They were super quick, super simple, and it was actually nice. Even after having knitted really long socks out of that Jinx yarn, it still was really fun to knit that yarn again. So that was awesome. There was one modification that I did. In the pattern for the thumb gusset, where you're increasing, they tell you to she actually just has in the pattern make one, or they just have make one. And so at first I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out whether to do a make one left or a make one right on each side, and I'll just keep doing that. But because you're reaching down into a row below to kind of pick up that bar, the color is not always the same, and it was making the stripe pattern on the thumb gusset look like very obviously off, and I didn't like that. So I ripped out on the first mitt. When I saw that, I actually ripped out the first one back to some of the stockinette, and so I changed that to a yarn over and then knit through the back loop on the next round, like I do in my socks, which I should have done in the first place. But yeah, they were really fun, really quick. If you need a fingerless mitt pattern, they're awesome to use for that. And my mom just wanted a really short cuff, so I only did like 12 rounds of ribbing. But in the pattern, she actually tells you to do around 30 rounds. So, you can make them longer or shorter based on whatever the recipient wants for that. And that's really awesome. So I'll probably use that pattern actually at some point to make myself some mittens as well, some fingerless mitts. So that's my only FO for the week, and everything else is a work in progress. And I am loving this. I only have 3 to show you guys, but I'm loving all 3 of my projects right now. They're really fun. So the first one I'm going to show you is living in my Fringe Supply Company field bag that lovely Melissa gave me. So yeah, just showing off my bag because yeah, I'm super in love with it, and each of my little pins that are on here. So let me move my show notes because they're falling. Okay, so in this bag is my first whip, which is just one sock. But this pattern, oh dear, we are a little tangled here. All right, I can get it together, guys. So this pattern is the I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice Socks pattern by CC Allman. And you can see there, I've done, I think I'm on the 3rd repeat of this little chart. And yeah, so you can see the little pumpkin that I've done in the middle there, and all the kind of twisted stitches. I love it. It's actually a very fun pattern to work, and it looks like it takes forever, but it really doesn't. Oh, and my little appropriately placed pumpkin stitch marker from Joy of the Anxious Knitter, and Cabinet of Curios is the Etsy shop. The Anxious Knitter is her podcast. But yeah, I'm loving this. so much. And I actually just started working on this a lot earlier today, so a few hours ago. I need to put some work in on these. I'm doing these as part of my owl for the Harry Potter House Cup, and yeah, I'm behind. It's been approved for 11 days, 10 days, somewhere around there, and I'm just now getting into it. And this is only the first sock. I haven't, like I said, I just really started working on it today. A couple nights ago I did the toe, and then realized I didn't feel like doing cables at that moment, so I'm just now getting back to it, but I love it. And this is the yarn, which I'm sure is blowing out or too dark or something. Stuff always happens, and it's not really that bright outside, so that's not helping. Anyway, you don't care. The yarn is Cascade Heritage in the pumpkin colorway, and I'll be sure to put the color number on screen as well. I think it's 5646, I think. But yeah, so there's that. I'm loving them. Knitting pumpkins in January because, yeah, it's always fall in my head, right? It's my favorite season. So, oh, never mind. I thought I wanted to show something about the pattern, but it's really not that important. So that was that whip. My second whip is being housed in one of my bags by Eleni of Manicory Creations. And I'll put the shop name up here. She's Manicory_Creations on Instagram. And the yarn that I'm using for this, so if you've seen some previous episodes, you will already know what this project is. So I'm using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Worsted in their Delft Heather colorway. And it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and they come in 50-gram balls. So I've got 13 of these, and I am already on my second ball. I think I'm a good way through the second ball of yarn, and this is how it comes, just in little 50-gram skeins here. So this, yeah, so you can see this is where I am on the second ball. I've got a good bit done. So a couple nights ago, like I was saying, I cast on the toe for my pumpkin spice socks, and then realized that actually I just didn't really want to work on those cables. I needed something just a little bit simpler in that moment, and so I cast on my entry for the spring garment cowl, which is my Rosemont cardigan, and this is a pattern by Hannah Fettig. And I'm loving it, guys. I'm loving it so much. So the back is curling up because it's just stockinette. And it's a cardigan, so it is worked flat, which I am surprisingly enjoying. The purl rows are going a lot slower than I remembered. But you know, it's all worth it. I really am loving working stockinette flat again. So yeah, this is the back, just super simple. So it's a top-down raglan, and you do have the option in the pattern to either knit it seamless or to knit in pieces and then seam it up. And just because I thought that I might do it seamed, but I'm not really feeling adventurous, so right now I'm just going to do the seamed version. And I can always make it again if I want to try or I'm doing the seamless, and I can always try it again if I want to do seamed. I'm not sure if I said those in the right order the first time, I don't know. But yeah, so here's what I've got so far. I separated for the sleeves last night, so those are on stitch holders, just some waist yarn as a stitch holder. Yeah, so it's going great so far. Here's kind of the yarn up close. You can't see it. I'm not really sure if you guys will be able to see this, but in the yarn, there's actually like a definite purple when you see it in person. It really makes the yarn very beautiful. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see that on the screen. But yeah, so that's how far I am, and I'm loving this project so much. my goal is I'm just kind of aiming to get most of it, if not all of it, done, at least knitting-wise, by the end of the month, so I can use this for a class on the House Cup group. Because everything is about the fake points, imaginary points, there we go, for imaginary trophies, right? What can I say? I'm competitive, and knitting is my sport. So I'm just excited to be earning points for Slytherin again. Okay, beyond that. So, we're already on my very last whip. Oh, I wanted to say this. So for the Rosemont cardigan, I was supposed to have my show notes, and I'm not even using them. So for the Rosemont cardigan, I'm using a size US 6 right now for the body of the cardigan, which is a 4mm needle. I did want to say that. Okay, anyway, so the last whip that I have right now is the My Sister's Shawl Mystery Knit Along, which is being hosted by the sisters of Cozy Up with the Stitchin' Sisters podcast. And on Ravelry, I was saying Cozy Up Knits, which is their username on Ravelry, but on the pattern page it actually says that the pattern is by Cozy Up Designs. So same people, you can find them easily either way. But anyway, so it's that pattern. It's being housed in my Aggie's bag, which I love. So, just spoiler alert, I've already finished Clue 2, which is why I'm working on these other things. I finished Clue 2. If you don't want to see this, this is the last thing for this week. Like I said, super short episode, guys. So, if you don't want to see this project and where I am on it right now, like I said, I'm at the end of Clue 2. If you don't want to see that, I will see you next week. But if you're going to stay for the spoiler, which might not be a spoiler if you're knitting it. So, let's see. Put it over here. Alright. Let's see if I can get my yarns out. So, this is the yarn that I'm using. Oh, look, it matches my shirt because my favorite color. So this is the yarn that I'm using. This is from Midnight Cravings Yarn on Etsy. So the two skeins on the end, the yellow and the blue, are her Sweet Sock base, which are 80/20 superwash merino nylon base. And the one in the middle is her Sugar base, which is her Stellina, and this is Silver Stellina. And this is her Cinema colorway. You can kind of see that sparkle and the little pops of the blue and the yellow in there. So for this project, color 1, color 2, color 3. So there's that. There's the yarn. And you are using all of the yarns. Not all at once, but you are using all of the colors. And at the end of Clue 1, actually, you add in color 3. So let me get, of course I'm tangled up here. The yarn wants to snag around my stitch marker. Let me find the right side. Okay, so here is my shawl so far. So there you go. Is this not beautiful? I mean, look at that lace pattern. I'm so glad that my color 3 was this blue, because I think it just looks amazing and elegant in that blue. So, yeah. So this bottom piece, you have 2 little mesh sections and some broken seed stitch. And so all of this was Clue 1, all through this color change right here, all of that was Clue 1, which is why this marker is here. That's the end of Clue 1, was that Cinema garter bump. And so this little section has eyelets, you can kind of see those. And that was really fun. So this is where I was last week, or really just 5 days ago. When I talked to you guys, this is where I was, that stitch marker. And so I finished clue 1, and clue 2 came out before I actually finished clue 1, so I just immediately I put a stitch marker on there for the end of clue 1 so I could show you guys that, and then I just kept going with the pattern. So I'm pretty curious as to when we're going to come back around to this little section, because, you know, we still have this needle down here. Sorry, my needles are getting stuck in the middle of the couch. So we still have this provisional cast on down here. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in clue 3, and that'll actually come out for me in a couple days. So I'm really excited to get back on this. So yeah, clue 2 was this lace repeat. You did it a few times, and then you did a color change back to color 2. I'm super excited about what comes next, and I love that all 3 of the colors are really being used so far. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. So I'm using a US size 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. And that's where I am. So this next week, hopefully, I'll be able to finish the clue ahead of time again, because that's really going to be my focus each week when the clue comes out. I'm going to focus on getting this done and then working on other projects, because I really want to finish this on time. So yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed. I just wanted to pop in and show you where I am on things, because I am feeling really good about where I am with my projects. So just wanted to show those off to you guys, and I hope everyone has a very crafty weekend and week, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!